be one with the kettlebell. Hello, I am Master Coach A, and welcome to Kettlebell Flow for Active Recovery Day on Sunday, May 17th, day number 63 of At Home Fitness with me. So that was not a joke. This is what I want you guys to try today. Obviously, active recovery, if you're going to go for a run, if you're going to go hiking, if you're going to take the dog for an hour and a half walk, whatever, yoga, just like we've talked about all of the last couple weeks. However, if you're getting bored and want to do something that is going to be way harder than you think it is and will help you way more than you probably expect it to, this is what I want you to do. And I'm going to call it flow because I don't know what the hell else I'd call it. So essentially, I want you guys moving with weight. There's a couple of things, and at the end of the video, I'm going to demonstrate different objects. There's a couple of things I want you to make sure you get in. Should maybe take about 10 minutes. All right, and obviously there's some differences. If we have a bar or plates or dumbbell or kettlebell and an ability to use one arm, two arms, that kind of thing. All right. First of all, I want you to get in 20 Turkish get-ups each side, and not necessarily the Turkish get-up in entirety, but the shoulder rotation piece that in that last video you saw me doing 3 times before I actually got up off the ground. All right. I want you to do the weighted sit-up that I started with. That was a single arm. It doesn't have to be. Let's get at least 50 total. If you're going to go single arm, 25 of those in. You saw me doing a plank row. Let's get 50 of those in. You saw me doing a SOTS press, which is sitting the bottom of that squat and pressing from there. Think of it like kind of doing a thruster without ever coming up out of the squat. If you're good at those, like I'm pretty comfortable with those, 50 is fine. If not, maybe something more in the 25 range. And then finally, the single arm overhead squat, where there's 2 arms, 1 arm, whatever. Let's try and get that up in the 50 neighborhood. Now, the point of this is that you are moving smoothly and moving well with an external load. In that scenario, it was the kettlebell. All right. Now, at the end of the video, we'll talk about the different things you can move with. But the idea is the core is constantly working. The shoulders are constantly working and stabilizing, as well as the hips, right? So I'm always kind of flowing through these different movements in whatever order, pattern you guys want to do. If you literally just want to go through each of the movements and then transition holding the weight, utilizing a Turkish get-up from ground to hang in the row to overhead, whatever, all right? But try and move for about 10 minutes, obviously even out both sides. To your limitations, focus on breathing smoothly and controlling your brace as your hips and shoulders manipulate around the movements. All right. So again, check out the info on the video and you'll see the movements I want you guys to hit at some point in there. And this should be probably much more challenging in terms of you're probably going to sweat a little bit and a little trickier for the core than we might necessarily realize. Obviously, the weight on this shouldn't be super heavy. For example, that was an 18-pound kettlebell for me. I would probably not do this with more than a 35. If that would cause me to probably have to put it down more than I would want to. All right, stick around for other demonstrations of equipment.
Stay tuned for movement modifications.
All right, guys, so I demonstrated with a kettlebell. If we don't have a kettlebell, that's fine. Let's say we only have a dumbbell. Pretty much all the same movements I can do. Let's say we have a dumbbell that is challenging and heavy. Well, sit-ups I can do like this. Overhead squats I can attempt to do like this. SOTS press I can attempt to do like this. If you have mobility, being able to accomplish the single arm overhead squat with a heavier dumbbell or kettlebell might be something you want to try after you warm up a little bit first. A lot of times people can surprise themselves if they have the positional mobility to be able to handle it in terms of what is heavy and what isn't heavy. Plank rows, obviously that's fine. If this is super light, for example, this is a 12-pound dumbbell. Me doing single arm rows with this, while that is active recovery, it's not going to give me all that much work. So maybe instead I modify this to a one-arm plank reverse fly. All right. Work with what you have, manipulate around it. If you need to modify somehow, that's fine. If, let's say, you guys are terrible at overhead squats, there is no way I'm going to be able to hold this weight up overhead. All right, that's fine. Let's work our way through a single arm front squat and then try and SOTS press from there. If we need to, and you guys are able to hold good core, stable back position, you can always press out in front of you a little bit too. All right. When it comes to the Turkish Get-up, remember, weight wants to be at the end of the extension in the hand, looking down the barrel of the arm with the eyes. It's always in our center of mass or leading out in front of it a little bit. In terms of heavier weight, that becomes more challenging because it has to be more accurate. Okay. Now, if we only have a barbell or let's say even a pipe, obviously the row is probably going to look a little bit more like this unless you set it up as a landmine and row from there. All right. The SOTS press, same idea as a single arm. Squat down, bar front rack to overhead. Overhead squat's probably a little bit easier because you guys can expand the grip a little bit wider. The Turkish Get-up position, the rotation, is going to be trickier because of the length of the object here, but the idea is the same. I still want to keep it looking down the barrel. I still want to get that shoulder rotation as I stand coming through. All right. In this scenario, I'm also probably doing the weighted sit up with two arms as opposed to one. All right. So adapt to what we need to adapt to. Keep in mind, really, we're just looking for an external load. So essentially, I could come up with different ways, maybe a backpack, put some weight in it, put my hand in the loop on the top of the backpack, and move around from there. All right. Remember, core work, a little bit of conditioning utilized for active recovery, quality movements that allow our shoulders to become stronger in different directions, positions, as well as the hips, as well as teach us how to brace and control our core as we're mobilizing through different movements. Have fun.